Buying a home is exciting, but it can also feel overwhelming. There are so many steps, so many terms, and a lot of moving pieces. For most people, the stress comes from not knowing what to expect. The average person spends 10 years in their home before selling and moving to a new one. That means you'll probably only do it 3 or 4 times in your life. It's hard to become an expert. That's why in this video, I want to break it all down for you, step by step. By the end, you'll understand the full home buying process from start to finish. We'll cover pre-approval, house hunting, making an offer, inspections, appraisals, financing, and finally, closing day. Think of this as your roadmap. Once you know the order of the steps, the process feels a lot less intimidating. Instead of wondering what's coming next, you'll feel prepared and confident. The first step in the process is getting pre-approved for a mortgage. Now there's a difference between pre-qualification and pre-approval. Pre-qualification is a quick estimate based on the numbers you give your lender, but pre-approval is much stronger. It means the lender has actually reviewed your financial documents, things like income, debts, and credit history, and confirmed what you can borrow. How do lenders determine how much you can borrow? Most lenders use what's called the 28-36 rule. Here's how it works. They want your total housing payment, that means principal, interest, taxes, insurance, and any HOA dues, to stay under about 28% of your gross monthly income, meaning what you make before taxes are taken out. Then, when you add in all of your other debts with what your mortgage payment will be, they don't want that number to go over 36% of your gross income. So that includes your housing, plus your car payments, student loans, credit cards, anything else you're obligated to pay monthly. Here's a quick example. Let's say you make $6,000 a month before taxes. 28% of that is about $1,680. That's the number most lenders would aim for on your mortgage payment. And then if you had, let's say, a car loan or a little bit of student debt, they'd want the combined total of all of those payments to stay under $2,160, which at $6,000 per month is 36% of your gross income. This gives lenders some assurance that you're not stretching too thin and that you can realistically make your payments. Why does getting a pre-qualification matter? Well, for starters, it's now required that you have a pre-qual prior to writing an offer and that you must submit it with your offer to the seller. Number 2, it tells you your budget. You don't want to waste time looking at homes you can't afford. And 3, it shows sellers you're serious. When your offer includes a pre-approval letter, the seller knows you're ready to move forward. Think of a pre-approval as your ticket into the market. Without it, sellers may not take your offer seriously. With it, you're in a much stronger position. Once you're pre-approved, the next step is choosing your real estate agent. Technically, you can buy a home without one, but the overwhelming odds are that the seller will have a realtor representing them, and well, look at it this way. Would you want to go into court to battle your case without a lawyer when the other side has a good lawyer? Having an experienced agent protects you and makes the entire process smoother. A good agent knows the neighborhoods, has access to all of the data on currently listed and recently sold properties in the area, understands contracts, and has the negotiation skills to protect your best interests. Your agent is also a buffer between you and the seller and their agent. Buying and selling a home is very personal and an emotional process. People can get easily offended. Think about it. The seller is selling their home, the place where their children's pictures hang on the wall, the paint colors they chose, the kitchen they remodeled, maybe the backyard where their daughter got married. And as the buyer, your agent will be presenting all the things that are wrong with the house and why it's not worth what they're asking for. That's a tricky conversation, and it's best handled by the agents. Buying a home has a lot of moving parts: deadlines, paperwork, inspections, financing. Having an agent is like having a guide who's already walked the path 100 times. You set the destination, and they help you get there. This is the part most people look forward to: searching for homes. It's fun, but it's also important to be intentional. Start by making 2 lists: your must-haves and your nice-to-haves. Must-haves are things you can't live without. Maybe a certain number of bedrooms, a specific school district, or a 1-story floor plan. Nice-to-haves are features you'd love, like a pool, an upgraded kitchen, but they're not deal breakers. Are you willing to paint? How about some remodeling? Is the landscaping lush and green? If so, are you willing to do most of that yard work to maintain it, or do you have the funds to pay someone else to? As you tour homes, be open to adjusting your lists. Sometimes buyers discover that what they thought was essential turns out to be less important than, say, location or commute time. I had a client who started her search with the goal of finding a home that needed absolutely no work, no repairs, no painting, no work whatsoever. But over time, she found that that home did not exist in her price range. In fact, it would be near impossible to find in any price range unless she bought a brand new custom build. In the end, she happily contributed some paint and elbow grease to get the size, price, and location she wanted. It turned out to be a great deal for her. Remember, the goal here is to narrow your search so when the right home comes along, you recognize it. No home is 100% perfect. When you find the home that feels right, it's time to make an offer. Your agent will help you decide on price and terms. An offer includes more than just purchase price. It also specifies the closing date, contingencies like financing or inspections, and how much earnest money you're putting down. In competitive markets, strategy is everything. Sometimes the highest price doesn't win. The offer with the cleaner terms, fewer contingencies, or a flexible closing date might be more attractive to the seller. In a very hot market, some people write as-is offers, saying that regardless of what the inspection finds, they will not ask for repairs. This is often more valuable than a higher offer price, especially in an older home that may have some issues. Some buyers make their earnest deposit non-refundable after the 10-day inspection period. This gives the seller peace of mind much earlier than waiting for the house to close. Some buyers will allow the seller to remain in the home for a period of time after closing. This often gives the seller time and the funds from the sale to close on their new property. This is where your agent's experience pays off. They'll help you craft an offer that stands out without putting you at unnecessary risk. Once your offer is accepted, the inspection comes next. The inspection is your chance to learn about the condition of the home. An inspector will look at the roof, foundation, plumbing, electrical, heating, cooling systems, and more. They'll provide a detailed report on what's working and what might need attention. Inspection reports can be overwhelming and somewhat frightening. The reports are often over 20 pages, and when a buyer sees one for the first time, they often have doubts about moving forward. You mean there are over 20 pages worth of things wrong with this house? Your realtor has probably seen and reviewed dozens of these reports and understands what is serious and what is filler. He'll explain that some of what you see is a disclaimer telling you to hire another professional specifically qualified on the particular focus of the inspection. For example, if there's a sign of water stain on the ceiling, the inspector will tell you that there may have been a leak at some point in the past and to hire a licensed roofer to inspect further. Here's a little side fact. Did you know that if a home inspector misses something important, something that costs the buyer money, maybe a lot of money, like a non-functioning AC unit or a rotten spot in the roof that caves in after an extremely hard rain, the only thing the buyer is entitled to claim is a refund of the inspection fee? Even though the inspector's negligence cost the buyer maybe thousands of dollars, all he can get is the $500 or $600 inspection fee refunded to him. So that's why it's important to use well-established inspectors with good reviews. Your agent will know who those inspectors are and have probably worked with them on a dozen sales. After reading the inspector's report, you can request repairs, ask the seller for a credit, or even walk away from the deal if the problems are too big. The point of the inspection isn't to make the home perfect. Every home has issues, but to make sure you know exactly what you're buying. While the inspection is happening, your lender will order an appraisal. The appraisal is an independent opinion of value. The appraiser compares the home to recent sales in the area and confirms whether the price you agreed to makes sense. This protects the lender, but it also protects you. If the appraisal comes in lower than your contract price, it's a red flag that you might be overpaying. At that point, you and the seller may need to renegotiate, or you may have to bring in extra cash to the closing. Either way, the appraisal ensures you're not buying blindly. Meanwhile, your loan is moving through underwriting. Underwriting is where the lender takes a deep dive into your finances. They'll verify your income, your debts, your employment history, and your assets. It can feel detailed and sometimes a little tedious, but it's just part of the process. The best advice during underwriting is simple. Don't make any big changes. Don't open new credit cards, don't finance a car, and if possible, don't change jobs. Those kind of moves can delay or even derail your loan approval. As long as you keep things stable and respond quickly to requests for paperwork, this usually goes very smoothly. And then we get to the best part, closing day. This is when you sign your final documents, pay your closing costs, and officially become the homeowner. Before closing, you'll receive a closing disclosure, otherwise known as a CD. This document lists all of the numbers, your loan amount, your monthly payment, your taxes, insurance, and every fee associated with the purchase. By law, you get this at least 3 days before closing, so you have time to review it. On the actual day, you'll bring your ID, your funds for closing, and you'll sign a stack of paperwork. It can feel like a lot, but at the end, you'll get the keys. That's the moment every buyer looks forward to. So let's quickly recap the process. Step 1, get pre-approved. Step 2, find the right agent. Step 3, start house hunting. Step 4, make an offer. Step 5, schedule an inspection. Step 6, get the appraisal. Step 7, go through underwriting. And Step 8, closing day. That's the journey from start to finish. 8 steps that may sound complicated at first, but when you take them one at a time with the right guidance, it all comes together. Buying a home may feel like a mountain at first, but once you know the path, it's just a series of manageable steps. If you're ready to start your journey, reach out. I'd love to walk you through these steps personally and make the process as smooth as possible. Thank you for watching, and if this video was helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment below. I'd love to hear which step you think will be the most challenging for you.